Hey everyone, my name is Jake Baranowski and I'm a registered dietitian here at IMG Academy. If I look like a new face, it's because I am. I was actually just brought on a couple of weeks ago by Jackie. So hopefully I'll be working with her and we're going to be working together to maximize your guys' nutrition so that you guys can optimize your performance. Today we're going to be talking about pre-competition fueling, but before we get into that, I want to tell you a little bit about myself, just so you start to familiarize yourselves with me, because I am going to be working with you throughout the year. I think that is pretty important in getting to know each other. So, I've been surrounded by sports pretty much my whole life. I played a little bit of soccer, took some tennis lessons for a while, and then I really fell in love with running. So throughout high school and my undergrad career, I was competitive in track and cross country. Um, I did my undergrad career at Indiana University. I studied nutrition and dietetics there, and this past year I was in Charleston, South Carolina at the medical university completing my dietetic internship. But, enough about my background. We're really here to talk about fueling so that you guys are ready for your match tomorrow. And we'll go into all this a little bit more detailed later on in the classroom. But while I have you here now for a couple of minutes, we're going to talk about some ways that you guys can focus tonight on things that are going to be beneficial for you, and tomorrow that'll really help bring your performance to the next level. So to start, you're probably thinking, okay, what am I going to eat tonight? I'm starving, I just got out of practice. And with that, I'm going to say we're going to focus on carbohydrates. So, carbohydrates and lean protein. So, carbohydrates are foods that are broken down into sugars that are stored by our body for energy and that are used by our body for rapid energy. So, there are two types of carbohydrates. There are complex carbohydrates, which we're thinking long-term energy, and then there are simple carbohydrates, thinking short-term energy. So, complex carbohydrates are what are broken down and stored in our muscles to be used over a sustained period of time, whereas the simple carbohydrates are broken down rapidly and are thinking fast, short-term energy on the spot. So when we're thinking tennis, what are we thinking? Well, I think about short, fast bursts of energy, lateral movements, explosiveness. So some of you may be thinking, I should load up on simple carbohydrates. I want to be fast. I want to be explosive. I want to be able to get those volleys. That is good, and simple carbohydrates are important. But the night before, and several hours before, we're really going to want to focus on the complex carbohydrates. So yeah, tennis is fast. It's short. It's explosive. But some of those matches actually last, 2 or 3 hours. So you're going to want those complex carbohydrates to sustain you so that you are explosive, you are fast for 2 to 3 hours and not just 20 to 30 minutes. So you can do this by, loading up on, your whole wheat pastas, your whole wheat breads or whole grain breads, your brown rices. Those are all going to be really important. I know when I was in undergrad, we used to do pasta parties and these carbo loading parties. If any of you have heard about that, it's basically where you gorge yourself with complex carbohydrates to try and have your muscles store as much energy as they can. I'd advise against this, especially the night leading into a competition, because it can lead to bloating and GI distress, and it can actually make you feel more sluggish than you would if you had a more sizable portion. With the complex carbohydrates, you're going to want a lean protein source, whether it's some fish or some chicken or a lean cut of beef, to really help rebuild and repair your muscles so that you can optimize more efficiently tomorrow. Same thing for lunch tomorrow. Going to be pretty similar to dinner. You're going to want to focus on complex carbohydrates for that sustained energy, except with lunch, you're going to want to limit the size and the amount of protein that you have and the amount of fat you have. Now, why would I say this? So, protein is a substance that, when it enters your stomach, it helps increase satiety. So, what that means is you eat some protein, it's going to give you that full feeling. And I know that I never really could handle too much before competition. Everything I ate always felt like a brick. If you don't want that heavy stomach feeling, you're going to want to limit the amount of protein you have. You're still going to want some, but just limit the portion that you have because you don't want to be too weighed down. The other thing is limiting the amount of fat you have. So fat kind of, when you eat it, it kind of coats and lines the stomach, and it will delay the emptying of your stomach. So it delays digestion. So again, if you eat a really high fat and high carbohydrate meal, fat's going to coat the stomach and it's going to delay the emptying. So you're still going to feel kind of heavy and weighed down. Before competition, so 1 to 2 hours before competition, that's when you're going to want to switch to the simple carbohydrates. So your granola bars, your pieces of fruit, those simple sugars get broken down into rapid energy and will help you in the short term. You're already stored up with the complex carbohydrates and the long-term energy. That's when you're going to want to focus on the short-term energy. And that's going to kind of segue into our last segment, which is hydration. So hydration is really important, especially in this Florida weather. Very hot, very humid. I used to lose close to 5 pounds just on a simple training run in South Carolina because of the humidity. So increasing your fluid intakes the days leading into the competition and the day of competition is going to be crucial for your performance. And it's also going to help out with the fueling aspect. So something like an electrolyte drink, like Gatorade, for example, it's going to be providing you with the fluids that you're losing. It's going to be replacing the electrolytes that you're losing in your sweat. And it's also going to be providing you with some simple sugars that can be broken down pretty quickly on the spot for that short-term energy. So this is just the quick and dirty about pre-competition fueling. We started talking about in-competition fueling with, granola bars and the electrolyte drinks like Gatorade, for example. But in-competition fueling is something that we're going to get involved with a little bit more next week. So we'll be able to maximize, okay, I'm ready for the competition. What can I do during the competition to help bring my game to that next level? So we'll hit on that next week. But for now, I'll leave you with this, just give you something to think about. If you guys have any questions at all, whether it's snack ideas, portion sizes, how much should you be eating the night before, how much you should be, what time should you be eating, you can meet with me individually afterwards. I know you guys want to get out of here, but I'll be sticking around for the next 30 minutes to an hour. I'll be in the weight room, so if any of you want to see me individually, I can help you out. We can come up with a plan to bring your game to the next level. With that, I just want to thank you all for being a great audience, and good luck tomorrow.